Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. We are from SC2204B. My name is Farhan Safia binti Aminuddin and my group members are Nufaisha binti Abdul Rashid, Biatu Adawiyah binti Asadi and Siti Nazihah binti Mustafa are going to present about MFRS 8 Segmental Reporting and MFRS 134 Interim Report. Where choose Nestle Malaysia Berhad to be used in this assignment?
I would like to talk about the company's background. Nestle roots in Malaysia dates back to 1912 as Anglo-Swiss Condensed Milk Company in Penang. Nestle has been nourishing Malaysians through their quality brands and products, whilst maintaining their halal excellence and integrity. This is in line with their purpose of unlocking the power of food to enhance quality of life for everyone today and for generations to come. The company was listed on Bursa Malaysia on December 13, 1989. It employs more than 6,000 people and manufactures as well as markets more than 300 halal products in Malaysia. Brands such as Milo, Nescafe, Maggi, Nespresso and KitKat have been trusted household names and have been enjoyed for the generation. From just producing simple, everyday products, Nestle has grown to become the world's largest food company, offering more than 8,500 brands and 10,000 products. With its headquarters in Vevey, Switzerland, Nestle has more than 456 factories in 80 countries and employs more than 283,000 people. In Malaysia, under Alois Hofbauer's watch, Nestle has been keeping up with their ever-changing technology landscape by emphasizing on the importance of digital advancement and innovation. To make itself relevant in the industry, there is a room at its headquarters with a huge screen covering an entire wall that trades keywords related to the company's product on the internet. Next, we go to the management approach by the company. First is about factors to consider having a segment reporting. Operating segment is a component of an entity that engages in business activities from which it earns revenue or incurs expenses, including inter-segment transactions. Next, whose activities are regularly reviewed by the Chief of Decision-Making for resource allocation and assessing performance and for which discrete financial information is available. Operating segments also show similar financial results over the long term if their economic characteristics are identical. Similar long-term measures, for instance, if their economic characteristics were similar, average gross margins would be expected for the two operating segments. When the aggregate is consistent with the central concept, two or more operating segments can be aggregated into a single operating segment. The CODM need to consider several factors in identifying the operating segment. For example, nature of the product and services, nature of the product processes, type of customer for the products and services, and method used to distribute the products and provide the services. As Nestle Malaysia Berhad, the factor identify the operating segment is based on the nature of the business, which is powdered and liquid, milk and product, ice cream, nutrition and health science, prepared dish and cooking aids, pet care, water and confection.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Biatu Adawiyah binti Asadi. I would like to present about the type of segment. Okay, the type of segment for Nestle Berhad is the geographical segment, which is comprised of seven different segments. The first segment is the powdered and liquid beverage, such as Nescafe and Milo. The second one is water. The example of water is Pure Life mineral water. Okay, the third one is meat product and ice cream. The example for meat products are Nespresso, Everyday and Omega Plus. Meanwhile, for ice cream, we have La Cremia, Oreo, Drumstick and etc. Okay, the next segment is nutrition and health science. In that segment, we have two types, which is for adults and for kids. For adults, we have Peptamen and Nutrin, and for kids, we have Lactogrowth and Cerelac. And the next segment is prepared dishes and cooking aids. In that segment, we have Maggi product, such as Maggi cukup rasa, chili sauce, and etc. Okay, the segment is confectionery. In that confectionery, we have Milo Nugget, Kit Kat, and Crunch Wafer. Last but not least, the seventh segment is pet care. Under that segment, we have Friskies by Purina. Okay, now let's move to identify the Chief of Decision Making, CODM, and its responsibility. CODM is a function and not necessarily a person. That function is to allocate resources to and assess the performance of the operating segments. It is likely to vary from entity to entity. It may be the Chief Executive Officer, Chief Operating Officer, the Senior Management Team, or the Board of Directors. The titles of the persons identified as CODM is not relevant, as long as it is the persons responsible for making strategic decisions about the entity segments. Referring to the annual report of Nestlé Berhad, it stated that Joan Aranoux has appointed as Chief Executive Officer on 1st December 2018. He is also one of the Executive Director. The board also creates board committees. It enables the board to discharge its duties and responsibilities properly. They can fulfill its decision-making process effectively as well. The responsibility of CODM are as follows. Craig Connolly as Chief Financial Officer, Alessandro Modica as Executive Director of Technical and Production, Shahzad Umar as Executive Director of Human Resource, Salman Nazir as Executive Director Supply Chain, Chu Soipin as Executive Director of Sales, Dato' Adnan Pawanteh as Executive Director of Corporate Affairs, Tengku Ida Idora as Executive Director of Legal and Secretariat, Ngan Su Yang, Business Executive Officer Milo, It Wan Lai as Business Executive Officer Nestle Professional, and Gita Balarishna as Business Executive Officer of Food.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ainur Fresha binti Abdul Rashid, and I will present a segmental report. As we know, Nestle has 7 segments, which is powder and liquid beverage, water, meat products and ice cream, nutrition and health science, prepared dish, cookie aids, confectionery, and pet care. But not all the operating segments are reported. How to know the operating segments are required to be reported? First, we use a 10% threshold revenue test. The total revenue of operating segments which incur internal revenue will be divided by the total revenue of all the operating segments. If the result is more than 10%, the operating segment will be considered as reportable. But if the result is less than 10%, the operating segments are considered as not reportable. After we applying this test, we can conclude that Nestle has 5 reportable segments, which are powder and liquid, meat product and ice cream, nutrition and health science, prepared dish and cooking aids, and lastly is pet care, and have 2 non-reportable segments, which is water and confection. Second, we use 75% threshold test. After determining the reportable segments, Nestle should ensure that the total external revenue of reporting segment are at least 75% of total external revenue for all operating segments. If the 75% threshold test does not meet, Nestle should identify any additional reporting segments. But after applying this test, we figure out that 75% threshold test has been met, which is 84.93%. So, Nestle does not have to identify any additional reporting segments.
Finally, I will present the last part, which is the conclusion. Segment reporting are very important, but there are advantages and disadvantages. The advantages and disadvantages depends on how the information is used. There are three advantages for Nestle Malaysia. First, separating profitable segments. The key advantage of segment reporting is transparency. For business that operate in different categories or geography areas, segment reporting can reveal which areas are profitable and which area are drains on the bottom line. If the segment reporting shows a business its overseas operation are more than domestic operation, it could prompt a change in strategy direction. Done properly, it keeps managers from hiding unprofitable ventures. Nestle Berhad have 7 segments, which are powdered and liquid beverage, water, milk product and ice cream, nutrition and health science, prepared dishes and cooking aids, confectionery, and pet care. From all of these 7 segments, we can conclude that there are 5 reportable, while the others 2 are not reportable. Is analyzing the company's performance. Large companies use segmented financial statements for both internal management reporting and external financial reporting. Analyzing a company's performance by individual segment can give manager a greater insight into the relative profitability of different parts of business. For example, the segment may have a different rate of profitability and decrease the type of risk and opportunity for groups. Managers use segmented financial statements to help in the financial analysis process. It is also the disclosure of segment information that may influence management performance and encourage them to work in the interest of society and invest. Lastly, improved contact segment reporting also allows stakeholders to get a better sense of the fluctuations that might affect overall numbers. If a business report much higher earning than expected, for example, segment reporting show where those earnings are coming from. Stakeholders can look at the same report to determine if the numbers are sustainable. It designed to help investor better understand and business and its potential cash flow. Next, I will discuss about the disadvantages of segment reporting. There are 3 disadvantages of segment reporting. First, the company could lose competitive advantages. The major concern is presenting the result of segment operation to the external users, such as competitors and other parties like customers, creditors, and potential investor. Potential investor could lead to competitive damage. As segmental information disclosure give details about the company's operating margins, return on asset, growth rate, and risk in its different lines or business. This may reveal the existence weaknesses and or opportunities which can be exploited by those competitors and other parties to their own advantage. Nestle is a global food and beverage company. Nestle also is facing competition from other companies such as Hershey, Mars, and Pepsi. Second disadvantages is the problem of misinterpretation. Segment information might be misleading to the investors and other external users who read it. Operating data by segments are developed for internal management users, and often arbitrary judgments are made by management for developing such segment data. Last disadvantages is managerial conservation. In the absence of some regulatory provision to disclose segment reports, voluntary disclosures are likely to be perceived by managers to be beneficial only in certain situations. For example, management will do the segment reporting when they believe the company's attractiveness can be enhanced. According to the MFRS 134, on the basis of preparation of the interim report, there are integral and discrete method. Integral method is where interim report is a fraction of the annual report and annual values times with fraction of the reporting period. Next is discrete method. Discrete method is where the interim period is a separate period and reports are prepared on a periodic basis. For Nestle company, the basis of preparation of the interim report is the integral method, where the accounting period of interim reporting helps to complete the accounting cycle, and the company spreads accruals and expenses across all periods, even when the company incurred these events in some periods and not in others.
Next, I will present about accounting policies that adopted by Nestle. The first one is inventories. Inventories is measured at the level of cost and at net realizable value. It also calculated using the weighted average method. It also includes expenditure incurred in acquiring the inventories, production or conservation costs, and the other costs incurred in bringing them to their existing location and condition. Net realizable value is the estimated selling price in the ordinary course of business, less the estimated cost of completion and the estimated cost necessary to make the sale. The second one is provision. Provisions are determined by discounting the expected future cash flow at a pre-tax rate that reflects current market assessment of the time value of money and risk specific to the liability. The unwinding of the discount is recognized as a finance cost. Provision for restoration cost is estimated cost of dismantling, removing or restoring the buildings at lease inception date for lease with requirement to remove leasehold improvement at the end of the lease term.
The types of interim reports that are prepared by Nestle are quarterly reports. This interim report summary of unaudited condensed consolidated financial statements such as statement of financial position, statement of profit or loss, statement of change in equity, and statement of cash flow that issued by Nestle every quarter, which is 3 months.
Now I will present about the period for the current and comparative of each statement prepared by Nestle Berhad. The company was prepared their report by quarterly. The financial year end on 31st December 2020. For the first quarter, interim report starts from 1st January and on 31st March 2020. For the statement of financial position, the comparative period will be the previous year end reporting date, which is 31st December 2019. For the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, statement of equity changes and statement of cash flow, the comparative period will be from the previous year, which starts from 1st January and on 31st March 2019. For the second quarter, interim period start from 1st April until 30th June 2020. For the statement of financial position, the comparative period will be the previous year and reporting date, which is 31st December 2019. For the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, statement of equity changes and statement of cash flow, the comparative period will be from previous year, starts from 1st April until 30th June 2019. For the third quarter, interim report starts from 1st July and end on 30th September 2020. For the statement of financial position, the comparative period will be the previous year and reporting date, which is 31st December 2019. For the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, statement of equity changes and statement of cash flow, the comparative period will be from previous year starts from 1st July and on 30th September 2019. And for the last quarter, interim report starts from 1st October and end on 31st December 2020. For the statement of financial position, the comparative period will be the previous year and reporting date, which is 31st December 2019. For the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, statement of equity changes and statement of cash flow, the comparative period will be from previous year starts from 1st October and on 31st December 2019. Is 31st December 2019. For the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, statement of equity changes and statement of cash flow, the comparative period will be from previous year starts from 1st October and on 31st December 2019.
Last but not least, propose the adjustment made by the company. The first adjustment is on property, plant and equipment. During the first quarter, Nestle Berhad acquired a new building amounted to 187,000 that is used on improvement and addition. On 31st March 2020, the PPE was 1,251,610. After the adjustment, the PPE became 1,251,797. While for the cash and cash equivalent, before the adjustment, the amount was 80,887, and after the adjustment, the cash and cash equivalent is 80,700. For the second adjustment on trade and other paper, during the same quarter, Nestle Berhad had made a payment to their creditors amounted to 357,000 in cash. The amount of trade and other payable before the adjustment was 1,219,176. After the adjustment, the amount became 1,218,819. While for the cash and cash equivalent, before the adjustment, the amount was 80,700, and after the adjustment, the cash and cash equivalent is 80,343. This is the statement of financial position as at 31st March 2020 from Nestle Malaysia Berhad before the adjustment. And this is statement of financial position as at 31st December 2020 to the adjustment. The PPE is 1,251,797, and the total non-current assets become 1,613,090. For the current asset, cash and cash equivalent is 80,343. So the total asset is amounted to 2,687,066. For the current liabilities, the trade and other payables become 1,218,819. Therefore, the total equities and liabilities is 2,687,066. That's all from me and my group members. Thank you.